I would say that the right path today is there are certain things that are low-hanging fruit, like we talked about earlier, like using ChatGPT and Copilot. The real thing with those are make sure you have a security policy, make sure you're being careful with your company information, and make sure you have an AI policy so there's rails on how to use them, right? So that's probably the easiest way to get started. From a common pitfall perspective, I would say talk to a company that's a tech company, whether it's, us or a competitor of ours in the marketplace that understands AI, understands what it can do, and that helps guide you down the path of what's the right way to get started with this. Well, for a lot of people, it's a dedicated instance of AI, loading data into that and having it do very specific things, or it's having a product in their environment, whether you're in the healthcare, legal, financial services, something environment. All of the vendors in those spaces are trying to build AI into their product set. So how do you leverage some of that to accomplish those missions? Above and beyond that, I would say it's important to have a technology roadmap of where you are today, where you want to go, and how you're going to leverage AI to do that. I mean, right now, again, there's a lot of hype in the market. Not a lot of companies have gone out there and said, I'm going to go all in on, Claude as an AI engine, right? So they're still evaluating what can I do this with? What people do I need? How do I maximize my return on investment? And that's the other thing too, is that you should be really looking at this as a business investment, just the same way you look as a piece of equipment or an employee. Like, what can AI do for me to increase my productivity, lower my cost of doing business, and maybe improve the customer experience? And once you do that, that's where you're really looking at how AI can help you move forward, and you're not going to get into a pitfall or a trap of, I spent all this money, it doesn't really do anything, just for the sake of, we see a lot of board appeasement, right? The board's like, how are you leveraging AI? So there's this mad rush to do that without a lot of thought about, well, geez, what makes sense? Like, how can I make a small investment, maybe do a proof of concept on AI to fix this one problem versus jumping into, you know, um, implementing it company wide and maybe potentially having a data breach or something like that because you weren't careful about what it can and can't do.